Newcastle United is going to be my FM24 beta save because Football Manager 2024, it's out now, at least in early access beta form. You can go and download it and play the game right this second and start your adventure, just like we're going to do in today's video. An adventure that is somewhere I've been before, a club that I have fond memories of. It's time for a new adventure. This is Newcastle. We can confirm Jude Bellingham as a Newcastle player, £83 million in total. I have been very busy in the window. I think I've spent about 400 million. We are Champions League winners with Newcastle. It was so nice. We had to do it twice. We're going back to Newcastle and starting that save in today's video. The videos will then be every season, hopefully, until we can go and do things like win the Champions League and just basically have a lot of fun. All of the things that I'm going to explain in today's video. I think now, though, it is the time to start our first FM24 adventure. Let's jump into the game. Here we go. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Football Manager video, but this time our first one where we're actually going to play through and start an adventure in FM24. Another game cycle begins today. Can you believe it? We've been doing this a while now. Thank you so much for joining me. If it's your first time here, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. We do all sorts of videos here. We do full movies. We do lovely simulations. We do game saves like this one where we're going to jump in to a Newcastle save for the beta. It might well last slightly longer than the beta. Who knows? We go on adventures. We see where they take them today. That begins by clicking this button here, which is career, and we are going to choose Newcastle. Disclaimer as well, because I know that some of you are screaming at your screens right now. I've not put any badge packs or photos or anything into the game. I will eventually, but I've literally just got home from work. I've jumped straight on the game. I want to record a video. I want to start playing to share Football Manager 2024 with you. So disclaimer now, because I know that really irks people, but we're going to play without them just for today. Newcastle is our team, just to mention as well. Look, so I guess we can kind of explore the game together here. Man City are licensed in this year's game, as are Brighton. Those are the two Premier League teams that are licensed, which is very cool. I'll show you, all of the EFL is fully licensed if you want to go into England, and also the Bundesliga is another fully licensed league. And then there's kind of like odd teams in other places. Something new this year, something that has never been in the game before. If we go to Japan, the J League, it's new for this year, fully licensed. You can go be Kobe Vissel or Vissel Kobe, which is that's the Andres Iniesta side, isn't it? You can go and do all of this. We're not going to do that today, but maybe we'll have some videos exploring those parts of the world later on. Also, by the way, I know that it's going to be quite chatty today. It's going to be quite informal. I want to share the experience with you. That's why we're doing this video. But I want you guys to tell me what types of videos you want. It's half term for me next week, which means I'm going to get busy making plenty of different Football Manager videos. But what do you want to see? With the new launch of the new game, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll get to work on them. Something new here as well, and something we do need to consider. There are 3 new game modes for FM24. You have the original, which is the same as usual, which is, the clue is in the name original. We've got the real world and your world. I think I'm going to go for real world because it's a slightly unique challenge that is going to be brought to us here, where all of the players that then leave Alan Saint-Maximin, let's use him as the example here. He leaves Newcastle in this real world summer, which we're going back to the start of to start FM24. He would usually, on the original version, be already gone. He'd be playing in Saudi Arabia. Now, though, we are going to have him until that actual date in the game, and then he will leave, which I'll show you when we get in, because this is the option we're going to go for. We could go for your world, though, which is where none of those transfers happen. So we'd keep Alan Saint-Maximin, and we'd decide what we would do with him. We'd decide if we wanted to sell him or not. But I think for realism, we're going to go with real world, and we're going to go with advanced setup. I'm going to get this all set up now, and I'll see you when I've added a manager. Okay, here we go then. The game is now set up. I've loaded in my manager that I've got to save. By the way, we can now wear shorts. That's new. There's lots of other new customizable things in there as well. But we're going to use this profile, which is a Continental Pro license, international playing experience as well. I feel like for the beta, we're going to go with something quite high. It kind of fits with Newcastle as well. It's a little bit weird when you use one that's lower than the team that you're managing. So we're going to go with this. We are going to be Newcastle, and we're going to find out what the club looks like, how much money they've got to spend, what the squad looks like. We're going to explore things today. Noticed as well, one of the things on here, they're predicted to finish 5th. So outside of the Champions League places, unless we get that extra Champions League place that might happen in real life, I don't know if the game's going to replicate that. Hopefully it does, actually. That's something to look out for too, isn't it? But of course, we are in the Champions League this year after that 4th place finish last season for Newcastle. We're going to choose those. Here we go. Look, I'm going to choose the badge that matches Newcastle. So International Continental Pro license. I'm going to be a motivator because why not? I'm not sure how much. I mean, we're going to make most of the decisions that are going to influence this more so, aren't we? Confirm this and let's get ourselves into the actual save file now. Here we go. Newcastle United hire us. We are in. There is a little bit of a club overview. We've got Amanda Staveley as the director. I've just noticed something that might temper my expectations slightly and the fun that we might have. Our transfer budget is 5 million. We're Newcastle. We're supposed to be rich. They do have, I suppose, those FFP restrictions that kind of hold them back with spending loads. Maybe that's why we've got 5 million to spend. Hopefully in the future we can spend a bit more, and maybe if we can shift a few players, we can spend a bit extra than this. And I think I am going to plan to shift some players. We'll go through that in today's video, actually. We'll talk about some transfer targets that I'm going to identify, and also which players in this team am I happy to see move on. There's the best 11 according to this. It's got Joel Linton playing left wing, which I'd probably put him into this midfield. Maybe move Tonali back. Tonali's going to be an interesting one. What do we do with him with the allegations at the moment that are looming over him with the betting scandal in Italy? Something that maybe we don't bother touching upon in our save, but maybe we should. I'm not sure. You guys let me know in the comments down below. Do we use Tonali? I guess we do, don't we? Here is the club vision. The board culture is to develop players. We need to grow our club's reputation. We need to qualify by the end of this season for the Champions League, that's quite lofty. I don't know if in real life Newcastle are expecting to finish in the Champions League places this year, unless there's a 5th position. And even then, I don't know. I feel like if they're good and they have a good Champions League run, they'd be okay. But that's actually quite tricky for this year. We're going to have to be on our game. We don't want to get sacked in our beta save, do we? Let's go through these then. Let's confirm everything here. Let's play. Let's see what the game looks like for the first time this year. Here it is. The skin looks similar. There's some nice touches around like the date up here, and some of the little edges on some of these. Some of the graphics look quite nice. We are in then. We've been hired. The supporter profile looks like this. They want us to qualify for the Champions League as well. The club vision says, well, I mean, we've just looked at this. Let's accept that. I don't think we're going to try to change it. We've got some players going out of contract at the end of the season then, it seems. Fabian Schär being one of them, who is kind of like a starter at the moment, isn't he? Jamal Lascelles, club captain, also leaving at the end of this season. Don't know if I want to really be extending any of these. I mean, the recommendation is that none of them are good enough. So maybe that's what we leave it at the moment. Javi Manquillo, Matt Ritchie, Emil Kraft is on there. Tactics. I've got an idea for a tactic. I'm going to show you that a little bit later on. There's some pre-season preparation. Here's Jason Tyndall having a chat with us, by the way. I feel like he's going to have to feature in this save at some point. He's going to make sure he does. At least he would do in real life, wouldn't he? Transfer window is open. You can see Kai Havertz is already done. Any of the deals that happened before the window officially opened have been made. So look, Dominic Szoboszlai is at Liverpool and looks pretty good, to be fair to him. 22 years old. Just look at that value. That's pretty high. Kai Havertz is already gone. But here's this new world thing. Our transfers. Look at all of the transfer stuff that is about to happen. All of these players are coming in. Tino Livramento for 12 million rising to 38 is going to happen on the 3rd of August. So we're going to wait for those actual dates, which maybe, does that hold us back a little bit? Does it give us things to look forward to? Are we going to have to start the season without some of these people? Potentially not. Lewis Hall is coming in. Look, we've also got, who else did they sign? That's kind of it in terms of first team players, isn't it? There are some players going out though. Carl Darlow leaves. Isaac Hayden. We've got Jamal Lewis leaving. We've got Sam Maximan. There's the big one. Ryan Fraser goes too, but Sam Maximan leaves at the end of July, the 30th of July. He goes to Al Ahly, which, by the way, here's an update. They are in the game. They are not a playable league, but the Saudi Pro League is very much in the game. The major clubs here, look, have Al Nassr, if we go to them, have the players, and they are in the game. Cristiano Ronaldo, 38 years old, is in FM24, which we didn't know quite what was going to happen with the Saudi League. And I will just say as well, a big thing, and I wonder if it's already happening. They are all over your players. They will be buying your players in a way that is maybe similar to like China did in the Chinese league back however many years ago it was now, where if you were really struggling to shift the player, you could always sell them to China for decent money. And I'm wondering if that's going to be an avenue that we will pursue in this save too, selling players off to the Saudi League. We'll see. Watch this space in terms of that. This is the squad then, I suppose. Should we load in a tactic and have a chat about what I want to do with this save? All right then, this is the tactic that I'm thinking about rocking. I say thinking because things might change. Depends really in what transfers we are able to do, because I did go and check, by the way. We have only got £5 million to spend. 58k in wages, so we can adjust that to 9.5, but then we've got no wages to work with. We're going to have to be a little bit careful with how much we spend here. It's not much. I don't know if that's an FFP thing or if that's just because they've spent some money this summer with the players that are already... Actually, we signed anyone... Yeah, Tonali, who's already come in. And then also the players that are about to come in, like Livramento and Lewis Hall being the main two and Harvey Barnes being the main three. We will... we'll go with this, a 4-3-3. But I wonder if we will change it in the future. I've loaded also and created something that's very similar to what we used in the last Newcastle save. This shadow striker 4-2-3-1, slightly offset to the side here. This is the system we used, if you remember back, if you watched the FM23 version of this, where we used Harry Kane in behind Alexander Isak to great effect. It's where we had Shelley as our right wing back, Andreas Schelderup to give him his actual name, but Shelley he will forever be. I wonder if we work towards this. Remember, we had Heung-min Son on the wing, we had Madueke, we had Mudryk in there as well. We had so many great players. I think Bellingham, we signed Bellingham last year in the beta, which would be quite cool to do that again. I don't think it's going to happen with him being at Real Madrid. Do you know what? That's just piqued my interest. I want to go and see how good he is on FM24. Yep, he's good. By the way, also, something... Do you want to see a video where we go and see how Lamine Yamal goes in terms of being a wonder kid? Because I feel like he's going to be quite good. Here he is, look, at Barcelona, 15 years old. I mean, what a player he's going to become. Just, that's very much an aside, but this is the tactic I'm thinking about rocking. I'm going to use this screen now to talk you through my thoughts on the squad. And as always, I'd love your thoughts too. Which players that I'm going to quite quickly dismiss here do you think I should stick with and use maybe in a squad role or even as a starter? Because I've got some opinions about this Newcastle team and I've done a lot of thinking already, knowing that I was going to do this save. I've even created this graphic where I'm basically coming up with some targets. We'll talk about this too. And if you want to go into some more detailed conversations about these things and actually be there as we go and do the transfer business, Twitch is your place. Twitch.tv/Clayts. We're going to be going live a lot in the next week or so. We usually stream at 10 a.m. on a weekend, on a Saturday and a Sunday, but I'm going to do a little bit extra than that because I'm excited about the new game. So that's a quick little plug for that. Let's go through the squad and we'll discuss what we're working with here at Newcastle. In goal, we of course have Nick Pope. I don't want to be mean here, and I know Newcastle fans, some of these things that I might say might annoy you, but just know it's all love. And, you know, we're doing Newcastle as our save. I'm sure there's lots of people who would argue we should do their team. I'm a Nick Pope skeptic. I think he's good. And I think that's fine. Like, he's a 31-year-old keeper. He's solid. He was a great signing for Newcastle. I think he's a good goalkeeper. Is he the future? No, I don't think he is. And is he actually elite? I think he's quite limited in that regard. I don't think that's unfair. I think actually Newcastle fans might agree with me on that one. I am thinking we want to try and replace him. Is it a priority right now with £5 million to spend? Probably not. So we're probably going to go at least this season with Pope in goal, but definitely something for the future to consider. Right back, I want to use complete wing backs, which might need to change because at the moment we've got Kieran Trippier, who is 32. He's fantastic. He's a great right back. He's a great player. Amazing set pieces, which I really appreciate in Football Manager as well, and something we need to look at because they have changed. They have set pieces in FM24 completely different. So we're going to maybe utilize Kieran Trippier this year, but another one that I think we are going to need to think about replacements, maybe an understudy for this year. Although we are bringing in Livramento, who can play on that right hand side himself. So maybe that's already boxed off. He's a bit of a wonder kid himself, isn't he? So maybe not something that, again, not something that is a priority. Right side of centre back, we've got Fabian Schär or Jamal Lascelles, and I think both or either are not good enough particularly. I think Cher is the better, obviously, and he's okay. Not the quickest, not the tallest, not the strongest. He's all right. He scored a thunderbolt against PSG, so maybe that's going to keep him in the team for now. But definitely want to go and look for a new young right-sided centre-back to partner Sven Botman, who I think can be our starter and is the future. He's 23 years old and I think he's great. Maybe not as a wide centre-back, maybe as a ball-playing centre-back here because he doesn't have the best agility actually, but he's tall. He's good on the ball, great tackling. I really like Sven Botman. I think he's a good defender. He will be a starter. And then at left back, I think this, now tell me if I'm wrong, Newcastle fans, I think this has to be a priority. A new left back that can get up and down the pitch and provide some attacking impetus perhaps is something we need to look for. If we're not going to go with this inverted fullback role that maybe somebody like Dan Burn could do, maybe actually looking, there is a new inverted fullback role that we could use here. Maybe Dan Burn doing this is something we could look for, but I'm just not sure I want to do that. I think I want to use my system, which is basically having left wing backs that can bomb forward, and having Dan Burn as a backup I don't think is the worst. So I'm going to take him out from here, leave this one blank because I think a left back is somebody we need to look for. Do you know what? Let's get straight into it. I want to go and buy this guy because I think he's fantastic. Valentin, is he going to be on here? I hope so. Valentin Barco from Boca Juniors. He's going to be wanted. I reckon this is going to be wanted by Manchester City. It is. He's only 18. He is all of those things with all the potential to go and do that. Can play as a winger, complete wing back. I think he almost becomes our first target. We can probably buy him now with the money we've got. Let's scout him actually straight away. I wonder if that's... Let's talk about priorities afterwards, but I wonder if he just slots in there quite nicely for what we want to do. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Into the midfield, we have got three really good midfielders, and however these are arranged, whichever positions they play in, it will probably change and be different. Something like... I mean, the roles might even have to change a little bit here, but these three, I think, are great fun, especially for the first season. One other, and I love Joel Linton, but is he a bit limited in terms of, do you know what? He looks really good. Maybe he's not limited. I think maybe in real life, I think that's the next one to replace. But I love him. And I think Newcastle fans, you love him as well, right? Joel Linton, for now, is going to be in the team, I think. But there's so many really good midfielders too that I want to go and sign. So, you know, watch the space on him as well. And now, alongside left back, it's the wings, I think, are the next two that we need to look at. Harvey Barnes can play on one side, although, can he actually play on this side? Where is... Oh, he's not here yet. Of course, we haven't signed him yet. I think Harvey Barnes from one side. It's going to be probably Almiron from this side. Can we improve on Almiron, who, again, very lovable, very likeable. Is he a bit limited as a footballer? I guess he's also 29. Maybe that's... I'm going to leave this... I'm going to remove him. I think if we can make Almiron a really good backup, I think we'll be in a good place. And then I think my first choice striker is going to be Isak. Maybe Harvey Barnes here. Maybe look to sign a winger, a left back, and then hopefully a right-sided centre-back is probably where we're at. And then any of these players that are down here with... Let's go through. With the exception of... I think I'd love Dan Burn to be a backup. I think is a good one. I think we can sell target. I'm going through and I'm thinking a lot of these. Sean Longstaff, I think, stays. Homegrown. I don't think he needs to be. I've put them in as left wing backs and things here. That's not what I'm meaning to do. I mean to put them on the subs bench. Let me just go and do that. But Dan Burn there. Let's put... I think we will keep him, Sean Longstaff. Homegrown at club as well, which is useful for the Champions League. He will stay. Elliot Anderson, I think, is a real prospect for the future. He will stay. I like Joe Willock. I remember liking him in last year's game. So he's going to stay despite his injury. Don't think I'm going to try to sell him at all. I think Almiron becomes a decent sub. We'll put him on the sub bench there. And then Callum Wilson and Anthony Gordon. I mean, I didn't actually mention Gordon before, but he's a real asset as well. Been really impressed with him in real life, to be quite honest. And I think he stays. Those ones are maybe my ones that I want to be squad depth. And then anyone here, I think... I'd be happy to sell. I know that like Jacob Murphy's done pretty well, but I think we could sell him target. I think I'd be happy to sell Dummett, etc., etc. Lascelles, even though I think Dummett's homegrown at club as well, isn't he? I think the rest, this is where we're maybe and hopefully going to get our money from. Let me know what you think of those, of that as a plan, basically. And then we try and build into this with Harvey Barnes coming in. With, I guess, we've got Lewis Hall coming in that can play here. We've got Livramento that can play too. And then maybe just a right winger, maybe a right-sided centre-back. I've got some plans. I think the next thing we'll do to finish off today's video is have a look at some of those players so that you can maybe feed me some extra players to target, to shortlist and scout, and also to let me know what you think of my targets, because I think we're all about the transfers. It's kind of why I've gone for a Newcastle save, even though we've not got the money, but we're going to have some fun with this save, and I want to hear from you guys. So let's have a think about transfers next. Do you know what? Actually, I've just realised you probably want to see some gameplay in the first video, don't you? So we're going to play our first friendly before we go and have a look at those transfers. It might be a long video, but do you know what? We're excited. Have a long video. Why not? We've got our game against our second 11. And before that, I'm just going to get Jason Tyndall to pick our code of conduct, which might be a mistake, but also that's a new feature, by the way. Next year, that will be the default. You know how you used to have to redo it completely every single season? This year, it will go to what it was last year, which is such a small thing, but really quite nice and really something I do appreciate. Let's pick our team for this new... In fact, I've already picked the team. Let's get into this Newcastle second 11 pre-season friendly and see where we go from there. As also, I need to introduce myself to the squad, apparently. I'd like to introduce myself. We are going to... I don't want to talk about any aims, if that's okay. Nothing else to talk about. Perfect. That was a short meeting. In and out. That's what we like to see. I'll skip that. Don't need to see it. Not much has changed. I want to show you the gameplay because the engine is really different, and if you've not had the chance to play it or see it too much yourself, there's so many, like the lighting, the stadiums look better, the pitch textures apparently on new too, and the way that they actually play, the positional sense of your players is completely different as well. So I do want to get into this game, as I need to go to a press conference and just really quickly click all of these options here and say, does anybody else do this? And then you don't really know what you're saying here, but I think I've just said that I'm going to buy a left back, but who really knows? Let's get into this game. All right, the teams are warming up. Here we go. First match of FM24. It would be quite embarrassing if we lose to our second 11 here, but hopefully we don't. Have a look at that. Look, we're obviously, it seems, at the training ground right now, but even just the kind of like dusk scenery behind, the lighting seems nice, although the textures of these trees is maybe a little bit iffy, but I think it looks serene and calm in the background there. Let's go to our match preview. There's our two teams. This is the team I've picked, by the way, filling in a few of those gaps that I did leave in the team, like Target's playing left back. And we've got some players that are still away on holiday too, because I think they played in the under-21s Euros, like Anthony Gordon is not here. There's our team. I've moved Isak wide and played Callum Wilson through the middle because we don't really, I think, yeah, Harvey Barnes isn't here yet, and there's a few that are missing. I am going to, actually, I've turned the sounds off, which is something that usually happens at this point. I'm going to put the pace of the game up a little bit. Let's put it to key highlights because we've scored already. What a start to FM24 in 17 seconds. Joel Linton scores our first goal of the new game. And do you notice how the ball is a little bit heavier as well? Apparently that's a new thing here. Almiron plays it to him. He takes it on the run and smashes it past Dubravka. What a start. You love to see it. We're going to be brilliant at this game. It's confirmed already. There's no questions about it. We're going to win it all. Here's a corner from Target in towards new set pieces, by the way. I did set them up. I said in swinging. I said zonal marking when we're defending. I've said put loads of players forward to try and score. Maybe I'll show you them at another time. But I did have to go through that. And then Jason Tyndall selected who was going to be where. I've not done too much on the set pieces screen yet, but that's something that you can do when you've got your full squad in and you know who the players are going to be, I think. Good start, though, from us. 1-0 up. Almiron's having a good game. We've got a set piece here. Shah at the back post. Headed away. Wilson picks it up. You see the pitch looks a bit different. Wilson deflected into the box. Still not away. It is. We've cleared it. Anyway, we're going to quickly go through this game. I did want to show you it because you wanted to, I guess, a new save starts. You want to see the matches, don't you? Which I was about to end. But I was going to go straight to transfers, but I thought, oh my word, that was a deflected shot. 2 deflected shots already, which I don't think we saw that much of in FM23. That one hit the post there, and it was Garang Kuwal who almost equalised. We are the better team, but we have only hit the target once so far. They've got a set piece now. I said it would be embarrassing. I'm actually worried it might happen here. Dan Burn. What? It's 1-1. I'm drawing to my second 11. I don't want to see it again because it's embarrassing. Their first shot on target. We scored in the first minute, but now it's 1-1. They're on the attack again here. It's Elliot Anderson. He runs. Oh my word, it's bounced through. Jacob, it's going to be. We're losing. Remember when I said this is our game and we're going to be the best and it was going to be easy? We're losing to our second 11. Maybe Garang Kowal needs to be in our first team. He scored twice. Bloody hell. They're dominating us as well. I mean, they're playing the exact same tactic as us. How is this happening? Why is... Maybe because I've not shouted. It's a bit... I've shouted at them when they're off the pitch. I'm having a meltdown. It's been one game. Come on, lads, show a bit of desire, I've said to them. For Pete's sake. If they make it 3 here, I might quit. I might quit FM24. Lewis Miley. Jamal Lewis. It's gone. It's deflected. We're 3-1 down. It's an own goal. Right, Trippier. Can we get a goal back now? Botman, no, that's rubbish. Okay, can we get we're losing 3-1. Can we get a goal back? It's the 63rd minute and it's been if they break away and score. Oh my word, Jacob Murphy skipped past our defender there. Here's Garang Kowal, who's on a hat-trick. Round the... He's hit the post. What a goal that would have been. What a goal that would have been. He's hit the post. We're being destroyed. How good is he? Maybe we need to actually check. I feel like he might have a first-team squad place after this if he's going to be this good. Almiron off the post as well. That's 2 woodworks so far. Woodworks being hit, I should say. That was a thing in FM23, a lot of woodwork being hit. But you know what? I still haven't been shouting and I haven't made any subs. So maybe this is on me. Matt Targett's having a terrible game at a 6.3, but he's staying on because we don't really have any other left backs. Callum Wilson. Isaac has to be offside. Surely has to be offside. They don't have VAR at the training ground, I assume. It is offside. The ref's giving it as offside now. We even have linesmen. I've not seen them. 10 minutes to play. I'm not doing subs out of spite. I'm going to make these players go through it. They're going to suffer the embarrassment of losing to our second 11. Because I have to. In our first video of the series, when we scored after 17 seconds and I said we were good at this game. We've got our shorts on as well, haven't we? For some reason, that makes it more embarrassing. Right. Anyway, we've lost the game. You've got to see what the match engine looks like. Maybe I need to go back to the drawing board in terms of tactics. What I'm definitely going to do, though, is consider which players I think I'm going to try and sign for this save. I've made a shortlist. I've been busy doing a bit of pre-match scouting. Let me share with you what I've got in mind. Let's look at some transfers. That is embarrassing. And to try and talk you through my approach to this save, which I'm finding difficult to put into words exactly, I'm going to show you some of my targets so that you can hopefully see my thinking behind the type of player that I want to bring in. I've created a little bit of a rationale, a recruitment policy, which I want to follow for the duration of this save, but obviously we might scale up the targets a little bit if we become more successful. I've said our recruitment policy is to sign young, talented players that are yet to make the step to the super team, in inverted brackets. I'm talking about the Man Cities and the Barcelona's, Real Madrids, or the Liverpools, for example. Once a player moves to those, they're very difficult to get them out of those clubs, aren't they? But there is so many young, talented footballers around the world that those are who we should be signing both in the game and also who Newcastle should be looking to sign in real life. Players like Sandro Tonali are examples of that type of player. I want also the players for us to sign to have real life promise. Players that I think are going to be really good in real life and not just they're really good in game and it doesn't match up with real life. I want there to be an element of realism, but of course we'll still have some fun with it being me, of course. Also, I've looked at ages between 16 to 24. I think this is the best ages to recruit from because they become sellable in the future. Their values will increase. It just makes sense. I've said below here, look, we'll give them long-term contracts and they'll have a scalable value. It makes business sense, doesn't it? And with all of that said, I've started to do a little bit of identifying targets. I have put in our current squad and I've put in bold here, look, the players that I think are players that I want to start. There might be 1 or 2 more, but depending on budget issues, such as we've just been through this, haven't we, when we looked at the squad. But I've also then, with all of these players, and I will add to this, made some shortlists, which is... I've never been quite this organised, I don't think. It's a little bit more scattergun usually, but I think we can go through and look at the players that I'm looking at for each position, and maybe just by looking at them, you guys can tell me in the comments down below which ones you'd go for out of these when you consider things like the price and the age and just exactly maybe even prioritising which targets to go for first. Goalkeepers, I think my favoured players that I've identified so far are Diogo Costa at Porto, Mamadashvili, I think he's my #1 target at Valencia. I really like him. He's Georgian. I really like the fact he's 6'6" and is only 22 years old. He's going to get better and he does quite costs quite a lot of money is maybe the only downside. Gregor Kerbal, maybe a little bit more difficult to get because he's already at Dortmund. Are they one of those super teams or are they just below that level these days? Probably we could entice him, but again, it's going to cost quite a lot of money, which we, at the moment, we don't have, do we? So let's be honest about that. And then finally, Gavin Bazunu, who I'm not sure is as good. At least in real life, I'm not sure he's quite as good yet, but he is very young, 21 years old. But he's at Southampton. Is he one that we could get for cheaper? Is that a little bit more realistic? I'm not sure. Those are the goalkeeping options. Let's go quite quickly through them. Right back, I've identified these guys. Ferdi Kadioglu, Frimpong, Geertruida from Feyenoord, and then Sasha Bowie. I think all would be good options. Don't think this needs to be a priority with Kieran Trippier still being a starter at the moment. But in the future, actually, there's somebody we've missed from here. I'm hoping he's going to be on our game. Andreas Schelderup is on our game. He's in Benfica's under 18s. He's going to Nordsjælland in that's back to Norway, isn't it? On loan, I believe. So we're not going to be able to get him straight away, but we do need to add him to our shortlist for right backs. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm just really sorry. We retrained him to being a right back on the previous game. Is he as good these days? He's 19 and does he have the potential that he had before? Not sure. We'll have to see, won't we? Anyway, those are our right back options. Let's have a look at left back. There's only one. It's Valentin Barco. We might need to be quick, though, if we're going to get him, because City, Milan and Napoli are all chasing him at the moment, which is a bit scary, especially when he's the only one I've identified. Centre-backs, both right-sided and left-sided here. I think we focus on the right-sided ones because we've got Sven Botman, who I think is really good. Antonio Silva is my number one target. Wanted again by Liverpool and Spurs, so we might need to move quick. We signed him last time and he was great. Really like him. He's literally a wonder kid, listed as a wonder kid. Scalvini I really like as well for that right-hand side. The other ones are left-sided. Arthur Theate, Inacio and Hincapié. All really good though. Central midfielders, there's loads on here because we've got three midfielders. We've got a defensive one and then the two in front, or we might even tweak it and move them around. But there's loads on here. All ones that I love in real life and would love my team, Liverpool, to go and sign. That's why they've made this list here. So out of those, which ones would you choose? I love the idea of I really like Kakare, one that maybe goes under the radar, but I thought he was brilliant for the French under 21s in the summer. And he's my type of player, just neat and tidy on the ball. He's only small as well, which I think maybe managers overlook a little bit, but I really like him. João Neves looks like a big prospect this year, by the way, at Benfica. Look at this player at 18 years old. Maybe he's one we go and try and get straight away. Again, we don't have the money for this, but it's nice to be speculative, isn't it? Into left wingers, only one, Antonio Nusa. I think he's got the world at his feet. In fact, I've just thought of another one. Zaragoza is his name, playing in Spain. Brian Zaragoza at Granada. Left winger, he's right-footed, cutting in. I think he needs to go on this list for a potential left winger as well. Where's my short list for left wingers? I think he goes on there too, and both would be really good young options, maybe as an understudy to begin with, to Harvey Barnes, potentially. Right wingers then, we've got Jared Bowen, Pedro Neto, maybe a bit bigger. Noosa's made it onto this list here, but Jared Bowen, interestingly, 41 to 61 million looks like value to me. Wanted by Liverpool and Man City and Al Ittihad. I told you those Saudi teams will circle your players. I feel like homegrown. He's 26 and maybe a bit old for our profile that we were looking at, but I just feel like there might be a bit of value in that. I don't know. Let me know. Strikers, I've put these guys on there. Some of these are going to be really difficult to get because they've just moved to new clubs this summer. Lois Openda and Boniface being those examples. But in the future, definitely ones I want to look at. Lois Openda is just all pace and looks really, I really like him at Leipzig at the moment. Boniface has started on fire at Bayer Leverkusen, who are themselves on fire, but he hasn't actually made the move yet here. And then Sesko, FM legend. Gift Orban seems to have really broken through this year. Evan Ferguson, FM, potentially an FM legend in the future. I think he might be. Again, he might be quite a lot of money, but definitely a one that I think in real life Newcastle should be trying their hardest to try and get, but Brighton are difficult to sign from. Then Marcus Leonardo, who is one that is great on FM, but also could be quite good in real life soon, I think. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this as an introductory video. We will go and play this save, and we might even be playing this save live on Twitch right now as you watch this video. I'm sending this off to editor Tom. He's going to turn this into a lovely packaged up video for you guys to enjoy, and I'm going to go live on Twitch to play through and start maybe trying to sell those players that we identified as maybe room for a surplus to requirements, I should say, and then maybe hopefully trying to sign some of those players that we've added to our shortlist. We're going to dive into things like the new set pieces screen, which is here. Look and decide if we're going to be zonal or player marking or hybrid. There's so much more to explore, but I feel like we've scratched the surface enough there. We're going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining me again for another cycle of Football Manager. FM24 is here. I hope you're as excited as I am. Hopefully you can see how excited I am right at this minute. Subscribe to the channel for loads of new videos coming, loads of new content, and leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. But most importantly, thanks for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.